Hello everyone and welcome back to Transfer Review, the show where we put silly season under the microscope here on EFD. Joining me this week, he's back. You'll love him. It's Sam Obaseki. Sam, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. Some of them don't love me. Some of them think I'm biased. I don't think I am. You know what I mean? But that's fair enough. Today, we've actually got quite a few signings that we're going to talk about that are really interesting. And I'm happy they're not about my club, because my club, they're getting active. Raheem Sterling soon come.
That is mad. You must be pretty happy with that. I think that's an incredible move.
No, it is, and I think there's been a lot of speculation. A lot of names have been surrounded, Chelsea. So it's nice to get one through the door. But we're not here to talk about Chelsea. We're here to talk about other clubs. So who are we going to talk about today, Henry?
Well, quickly, we're just going to run through some transfers that have happened. Derby have roared out of administration, signing David McGoldrick, James Chester and Conor Hourihane. I think for League One signings, that is class. I think that's great. We've seen Nottingham Forest hero Bryce Samba join Lens for €5 million. Wout Weghorst is off to Besiktas on a season-long loan. Isco reportedly close to Roma. And then Enzo Fernandez has joined Benfica from River Plate for €10 million. Basically, just remember the name, because he's inevitably going to be worth 40 million in about 2 summers' time, knowing the way that Benfica do business. So that is an exciting one. And also, big transfer at Downing Street. We've seen Boris Johnson finally bend off. So
yes, come on.
Yes.
If you're watching this, just round of applause, man. Just fist bumps.
That is a great move for the British people. Good transfer. Hopefully he'll be a free agent and not have a club anytime soon. What a fool. But yeah, anyway, the transfer, we love that transfer, don't get me wrong, but the transfer we really like this week, Sam Obaseki, is potentially, it's Lisandro Martinez. He has a conundrum on his hands. Does he choose Manchester United? Does he choose Arsenal? Great player. Tell us more about this one, Sam.
Yeah, the race is heating up. We've seen in the last few weeks that he has been linked with Manchester United. He's been linked with Arsenal. Erik Ten Hag desperately wants the Argentine to join his club. Obviously, they haven't really made any major signings. We've seen that they're close to agreeing a deal with Eriksen. But this signing right here, especially the fact that they've worked together in the past, is a big reason why he wants to bring him to Old Trafford. Mikel Arteta is also a big fan of his as well. He's a player that can play in multiple positions. He can play central midfield, he can play centre-back, he can play left-back as well. And according to David Ornstein, Ajax want €50 million for him. I think Manchester United have put in the best bid for him at around €43 million, but there hasn't been any deal yet. Apparently, the Argentine isn't actually too fast where he goes. I think he just wants to come to the Premier League. David Ornstein also, I don't know if it was David Ornstein, but The Athletic anyway reported that he's handed in 2 transfer requests in the past to leave Ajax after spending, I think it's 3 years. He spent 3 years at Ajax, and obviously when you're playing for Ajax, not saying that the league is terrible, but there's only so much you can do. I'm guessing the 24-year-old wants to, reach new heights. I can understand why. He's a brilliant player. He can dribble, he can pass, he's an excellent tackler. His numbers are actually pretty good. He averages 93% passes, plus produces 7.9 progressive passes, 6.1 progressive carries per match, also clocks 5 tackles and interceptions per 90. And also, even though he's 5'9", and most people say in the Premier League you're too short to play centre-back or too short to play CDM, he still wins 3.5 aerial duels per 90. So that is a good player. He seems like he's definitely got the knack and the ability to play in the Premier League. He's also earned 7 caps for Argentina in the past 3 years. He's building a really good reputation, and I can understand why Manchester United and Arsenal are in for him. But if you were him, Henry, who would you choose?
Oh, it's a tricky one. I agree. He's a great player. I will say, though, with the Eredivisie, you never quite know how that's going to translate over to the Premier League. So his stats are excellent over there, but yeah, let's just wait and see how good he really is if he does get a move. But I mean, he really does have a choice on his hands. I mean, at United, as you said, he'd be back with Ten Hag, the man who signed him from the Argentine top division club, Defensa y Justicia, back in 2019. What a great name, Defence and Justice, for a football club. No, we don't. We need more of those kind of names, I think, in the Premier League. But yeah, I mean, at United, you have to look at it as he'll be playing centre half, or perhaps in the central defensive midfield role, which they're crying out to fill. at the moment. Obviously, they brought the guy from Feyenoord who's going to fill in at left back now. And I suppose with Harry Maguire's ability really coming under question, potentially there may be an opportunity there for him to slot in and partner Varane at centre-half. I would be slightly cautious about doing that. I mean, obviously, Maguire had a really tricky season last year. Passed the ball less, played fewer long balls, completed fewer clearances than ever before. I think he just really needs a loving arm around him. I still support Maguire in many ways. I think he's a decent player. When he's feeling good, it's just been difficult, really hard for him at the moment. And I just think buying someone in from the Eredivisie to replace him maybe isn't the most sensible move. However, in central defensive midfield, they're obviously slightly light. They've lost Pogba, Matic. Mata's all gone, as you said. Eriksen looks like he's going to be coming through the door. But yeah, Martínez, definitely an opportunity to challenge McTominay and Fred in those positions. And yeah, to give you an idea of what he's like as a footballer in 2020, he said that he styles himself on Joshua Kimmich at central defensive midfield, arguably one of the best there is in the game. So he said, I like the calmness he has and the way he reads the game. A player has to be intelligent, he has to have confidence, but it's a game of decisions. You make decisions with your head. And I think we see that when he plays, he's really matured on the ball. Like you said, great passing accuracy, 93%. Last season, only made 0.4 unsuccessful touches a match. Saw plenty of the ball, rarely dispossessed. Leading the attacks from midfield or defence. Typical of the Ten Hag style. Just really great ball-playing Argentine centre-half. And there's a reason that he's in that Argentina squad too, who, let's face it, are probably one of the top 5 in the world right now on an unbelievable unbeaten streak. At Arsenal, I think it's going to be harder to break that centre-half duck. You've got White, Gabriel, Saliba, all their big names. I mean, he'd probably go in ahead of Holding, etc. But I think Saliba, they need to give him an opportunity to play this year, whether they play back 100%. 3 or back 2 or back 3. So yeah, I struggle to see there. However, he could compete with Kieran Tierney at left back. I mean, we all love Kieran Tierney. He's a great player. However, he is really injury prone, isn't he? He's missed 48 games for the Gunners since signing from Celtic in only January 2019. So yeah, not the most reliable option back there. But then, and even if you look in central midfield, I think there is maybe an opportunity for him to slot in there too. You provide competition for Lokonga and Mohamed El-Neni. They only started 20 games between them in the Premier League last season. I'm a big fan of El-Neni. I think he's quite underrated for some reason. Not too convincing.
I wouldn't go that far. Wouldn't go that far, Henry. Underrated is a bit of a stretch. He is good though, but underrated is a stretch.
Hey, they can improve. I'd take him at Fulham in a heartbeat. Get El-Neni through the door. I love him.
That says a lot.
Yeah, maybe you're right. You're so right. And obviously Thomas Partey, not the most reliable either with injuries since he's signed over from Atletico Madrid. So there is certainly an opportunity for him to compete there. If you thought about it financially, he's probably going to get the better deal at United. They could offer more money. We've seen the kind of silly wages they've thrown around over the years. Freed up a bit of that wage bill. Now Pogba's gone. It looks like Ronaldo's probably going to go out through the door too. And that, Ronaldo leaving points to the kind of disharmony we've seen behind the scenes. David De Gea at the end of last season saying, if you're not committed, get out. Ten Hag looking to revolutionise that and change that and put it on the right path. But Arsenal are already on that path, aren't they? Like Arteta really building unity between his players. Disruptive members like Aubameyang and Guendouzi moved on. It is an exciting time to join that Arsenal side. At his age as well, 24, he would slot in there. I mean, I personally, if I was him, I feel like he's guaranteed more football at United. But I think for the project, I would probably go for Arsenal and back yourself to maybe knock out some of those players. I mean, like I said, ferocious in the air, etc. I mean, Sam, what would you do? I'd maybe go for Arsenal in this one, but he's not bothered either way. It seems just wants to play Premier League football, and they're both going to be in Europa League next year. So yeah, what would you do?
I think I agree with what you're saying in terms of the Arsenal project and how it's a bit more developed than United's, and the fact that Erik Ten Hag is basically got a whole mission to do. But at the same time, the fact that he's worked with the manager before, he knows he's definitely gonna have more of an opportunity to start most of their games, whether it's gonna be at centre back, whether it's gonna be at CDM. Left back, obviously they just made a signing, so I'm not sure that will be the case. But yeah, I think if he wants to play and he's thinking of the World Cup and he wants to guarantee minutes, then I would say Manchester United. But if he's looking for an easier, I wouldn't say easier task, but I guess it's easier to integrate to a Premier League side when you're not like thrown into the deep end, and I think that's what would happen with Arsenal. So yeah, I get what you're saying with Arsenal, but I think because he'll get more minutes at Manchester United, I'll have to go United.
All right, Sam's going United. I'm going for Arsenal. I'm right, obviously. No, I'm not. So yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. This transfer looks like it's going to be done maybe this weekend, the weekend after. Ajax playing hardball because they don't want to lose any more players. But yeah, should be done soon. Let us know what you think. And we're going to move on to the transfer story we're less sure about. Just before we move on to the story we're not too sure about, make sure you're subscribed to Eurofootball Daily. Hit the notification bell to never miss one of our videos. We're putting out quality content every single day. Anyway, the story we're not sure about is David Moyes apparently blocking a move for Villarreal star Arnaut Danjuma. Sam, what's happening here?
Yeah, this is a weird one. Like you said, it looks like David Moyes is pulling the plug on a move for Arnaut Danjuma. The Football Insider and multiple other sources are saying that he's urged the club's board and people in the higher ups at West Ham to not make a move for the forward. And this just came after West Ham and Villarreal actually made an agreement, and they reached advanced stages as well of negotiations. But I don't know what happened. David Sullivan wanted him to be one of his first signings this summer, after narrowly missing out on the Champions League last year. They wanted to, push on. But I think David Moyes has his eyes on something else. I can see why they originally had their eyes on Danjuma. Last season, he scored 16 goals and recorded 4 assists for the Spanish outfit in the Champions League and La Liga. He recorded 1.5 shots per 90. That was the third highest in La Liga. And obviously, because of this return, Villarreal were asking double the amount that they paid Bournemouth, which was £23.5 million. And I guess after 12 months, you could say that might be a little bit steep, but in this current market, the fact that there's not that many forwards that are firing like he did last season, I can understand why Villarreal wanted more for him. Last month, the 25-year-old was telling the media that he was open to a move to a higher platform. That's what he says. So I don't know what that means. I guess as football fans and people, we can kind of interpret it as he wants, a bigger challenge. I'm not sure if West Ham is a bigger challenge than Villarreal, but again, playing in the Premier League and that challenge in itself and coming back might be what he's talking about. Liverpool were also heavily linked with him as well, but that seemed to dim it down. So I'm not sure why David Moyes pulled the plug, because when I heard of the transfer, it did make a lot of sense, Henry.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a good player. I mean, perhaps a little bit untested in the Premier League. Had a tricky time with Bournemouth when he was over here, but then absolutely lit up the Championship a couple of seasons back. Was arguably the best player in the whole division. Electric player. So yeah, gone to Villarreal. Bear in mind that Villarreal, they're not the most attacking outlet, basically relying on Gerard Moreno to control things up top, Unai Emery style football, and yet he still managed to stand out. Didn't have much of the ball, but was really clinical in the box when the opportunity arose. But I can kind of understand Moyes' reported reasonings for wanting to focus on other targets. He wants a more out-and-out striker to provide competition for Mikel Antonio, which is something they've been crying out for a long time, isn't it? Antonio's been having to do so much work up front, and reportedly his first choice is Chelsea's Armando Broja, which is an interesting one. I think Sky Sports claim that West Ham are willing to pay over €30 million for the 20-year-old, who scored 6 times on loan at Southampton last season. I feel like he slightly faded out, didn't he, towards the back end of the campaign. Thomas Tuchel has reportedly left the Albanian out of his pre-season tour to the USA, with the forward attracting attention. We've seen West Ham, Everton, Newcastle, Southampton all in for him as well. I do like Broja as a striker. He really works hard. He wins a lot of aerial duels, more than Antonio. And yeah, gets off a similar amount of shots. So I think maybe give it a permanent club, he could step on. He's still only 20 years old as well, so that's definitely a lot of potential there. €30 million, not too sure. They're also West Ham looking at Sevilla's Youssef En-Nesyri. Big fan of him over here on EFD. Although the Moroccan did have a tricky campaign last year, he only scored 5 in La Liga. He missed quite a lot of games of injury. His form dipped as Sevilla kind of crashed towards the end of the campaign. But he did score 18 in La Liga the campaign before that. So clearly this guy knows what he's doing in the box. And I think he's a great player. According to ABC Sevilla, the 25-year-old could be sold if the price is right. Sevilla always sort of doing bits in the market, aren't they? I mean, like I said, they're all pretty similar players. And En-Nesyri and Broja Both take around 2.4 shots per 90. Both win 3 aerial duels or more. Attempt lots of pressures. Bigger numbers than Antonio. I think I'd be wary about overspending on En-Nesyri if I was West Ham right now. And I don't know why they don't just go and get Danjuma. He can play on the width. He can play on the... play wide, he can play down the middle as well. I do think that would just be a sensible opportunity. He's been in England before, so it's not like he would have to sort of acclimatise, speaks English. He's in the Dutch national side. Really good footballer, actually. I mean, like I said, En-Nesyri, great player. Broja, maybe a bit more of a gamble. I do think Danjuma, for the price they'd reportedly negotiated, around that €40 million mark, maybe that looked like the right transfer. I agree with you, though, Sam. I'm not sure if West Ham is necessarily a massive step up on Villarreal right now. I think they're both in the Europa Conference League next year, so sort of matching each other for competitions. So yeah, let's see. For me, I think David Moyes is being slightly short-sighted, but maybe we don't know what the budget's saying at West Ham. We don't know where the resources are going to go elsewhere. It looks like they've sold Issa Diop to Fulham for €20 million, which is a pretty good fee to get for a defender who's not their first choice anymore from a sucker like Fulham who are buying anything. So yeah, it's I say that as a Fulham fan, by the way. So yeah, it's an interesting time. But yeah, Sam, what would you do? Would you go for Broja and En-Nesyri, or would you go for Danjuma, or would you try to get a couple of those guys?
I think going for Danjuma made the most sense. Like you said, I guess the amount that they have to spend this summer might be something that David Moyes is weary of, and not overspending on certain players. But like you said last year, until we saw Antonio putting in the hard graft and those few months where he had the drought and he was looking fatigued, they definitely need reinforcements in that forward line. And why not go for a player that can do it down the middle but also play out wide as well? I think Broja would be a great signing as well. He's played in the Premier League for a season. He knows he's bearings, but at the same time he's younger. So I guess, I don't know, I'll definitely go for Danjuma, but Broja's not a bad shout. If they're able to get a good fee for Broja, I think that would be a very good signing for them as well.
All right, class. West Ham fans, let us know what you want your club to do down below, and who else maybe you're linked with this summer. Sam, that's everything for Transfer Review this week. You're over on Snapchat. What can the people go and see?
You can see us every day talking about the stories that you don't necessarily hear on YouTube. So today I'm talking about Maguire liking posts that he shouldn't like on Instagram. If you know the story, then come over and have a chat with me, because it's very interesting. Also TikTok, we're doing a lot of content over there, original content as well. So, and we're a lot more active in the comments. So make sure you go over there, subscribe and all of that stuff.
Love it. Podcast is back too. Go check that out on the podcast channel. Oh, yes. All right. See you later, everyone. Have a great day. And see you later, Boris Johnson. All right. Bye-bye.